Hi everyone. So for my research project, I focused on the subduction initiation of the Nazca Plate beneath South America. In this presentation, oh, I will be starting by outlining the history of the Nazca subduction before moving on to discuss the geodynamic processes operating within this system. The most recent literature available on the Nazca subduction initiation was written by Chen, Wu, and Sup in 2019. Their paper was titled Southward Propagation of Nazca Subduction Along the Andes. So Chen and co. used a plate tectonics reconstruction to provide evidence that the Nazca plate subduction initiation occurred at approximately 80 million years ago. Using P-wave tomography, the Nazca plate was reconstructed to provide dimensions of the pre-subduction plate. The plate was found to have an estimated thickness of 70 to 100 kilometers and alternating lengths. At the northernmost point at 4 degrees south, the plate was 7,600 kilometers long. And at the southernmost point at 36 degrees south, it was 3,800 kilometers long. The model of this plate and its dimensions can be seen in the figure on the right. To the left, you can see a G-plate sphere, which I have created to represent the subduction initiation at 80 million years ago. Between South America and Africa, you can see the rifting of the South Atlantic Ocean basin occurring over LLSVP. This is driving the westward movement of South America. Similarly, rifting over the eastern LLSVP is pushing the Nazca plate towards South America. Chanko created a model, as seen in this figure here, which provides a simplified history of the subduction system. As you can see, the subduction initiation occurs between the late Cretaceous and the Eocene. The slab enters the upper mantle at a neutral slab dip. Between the Eocene and the Miocene, the entire plate margin has started the process of initiation and is now entering the stage of slab rollback. While the plate is in the upper mantle, it is not stable and is prone to periods of intermixed convergence and extension. Sedimentary evidence of these activities is marked by the Neuquén Basin. As you move from the Miocene to the present day, the entire plate margin sinks into the lower mantle where it becomes anchored, preventing any further extension activity. Previous studies have revealed that anchored slabs produce compressional effects, whilst free slabs in the upper mantle are prone to periods of extension. So going back to the initiation timing, as the top of the plate was significantly longer than the bottom, this led to a southward propagation of subduction, with the northernmost point beginning to subduct at the previously mentioned time of 80 million years ago, while the southern part of the plate only began at 55 million years. In this figure here, you can see a comprehensive outline of changing plate margins between 80 million years and 10 million years ago. From 80 million years through to 50 million years, the initiation of subduction is propagating southward, so you can see a southward trend of change over time, with more and more of the margin turning from extension to compression margins. From 50 years onwards, the entire margin has initiated subduction and has become stabilized and anchored, reflected by the unchanging plate margins. In this next figure, Chen and company have provided more extensive dates and locations for the subduction initiation. This table further reflects the southward propagation of initiation. Age of initiation and slab anchoring appear older at the more northern latitudes and gradually become younger as it travels further south. The table compares papers done by other researchers with alternating results. Some papers reflect a much older age of initiation. However, there are more papers with similar timeframes than not, providing further strength to Janko's argument. So that about sums up the subduction history of the Nazca Plate, and I'll now talk a little bit more about the geodynamic processes. A much larger range of sources were used to cover this area, as Chen and Co focused mainly on the tectonic history. So seismic studies of P and S wave velocities have been used to study the Nazca Plate. These studies revealed a topographical bulge near the surface, creating an enhanced slab suction force. The slab is very flat, and the suction force is considered to be the driving force in its angle, as the plate's buoyancy by itself would not have been enough to maintain the flat position. The flat slab angle has also meant that there is less mantle influx above the slab, resulting in regional cooling, and as a further result, less partial melting, and also less arc volcanism closer to the slab. Another feature of the flat slab is its fluid-rich composition. As the slab subducts, fluids are released through metamorphic reactions, which lead to considerable S-wave velocity reductions of around 10 to 20% less than normal slabs. These low velocities also suggest that the surrounding mantle would be composed of dense materials such as eclogite. A significant geological feature associated directly with the Nazca subduction is the Andes mountain range. As the slab enters the lower mantle, it begins to thicken and creates higher mountain elevations. The highest and widest part of the Andes is the central mountain range, which was deformed during the Bolivian orocline. The orocline occurred at about 45 million years ago, just after the time in which the slab became anchored in the lower mantle, where it started to thicken. In conclusion, it can be summed up that subduction was initiated between 80 and 50 million years ago, and that by 50 million years, it was initiated between 80 and 55 million years ago, and by 50 million years, the slab had entered the lower mantle and anchored itself, resulting in crustal thickening. The subducting slab is very flat and has resulted in a zone of lower velocity. A large fluid influx from metamorphic reactions during slab melting would suggest the presence of a dense mantle composition. As a result of the slab's flatness, arc volcanism closest to the trench is gradually declining because of the colder mantle and less partial melting. However, further away from the trench, when the slab starts to steepen, arc volcanism is much more prominent. And the greatest geological feature seen today, resulting from the Nazca subduction, is the presence of the Andes mountain range. Thank you.